Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever applies to you, depending on when you're watching this and where you may be watching this from. This is the Conscious Bishop, Bishop B. Jamel Broadnax, coming to you for day number 21 of Everyday Spirituality, every day in December. And today we're going to talk about unlearning fear based images of God. This is going to be good. Sorry, I'm doing getting my everything ready here, sharing it in a couple of places, but it's going to be good tonight. I promise you. You just hang with me and give me a minute because I'm losing my train of thought of how I share. Why can't I think of what I'm trying? How do I share? How do I? Oh, that's crazy, y'all. Just pay me no attention. I have fogginess sometimes in my brain. It's the only way I know to say it. And for real, if y'all know, I had a case of transient global amnesia a few weeks ago, and yeah, that's crazy. So, so I still get a little foggy brain sometimes. But let's go ahead and get started tonight. I'm excited about being with you tonight. Again, we're going to talk about unlearning fear-based images of God or fear-based God images. If you're watching on TikTok, hello, 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 Facebook or YouTube. So after last night's message, we talked from the subject, God is good and so am I. This is day number 21 in Everyday Spirituality. And I enjoyed sharing with you on day number 20. But there's something else I want to talk to you about next because many people, for many, the reason it's hard to believe you're good is because the image of God that you were given was rooted in fear. Now, a lot of times when I say God, I'll do this. Because when I talk about God, again, I'm not talking about some old man up in the sky with a long beard that's waiting to beat your ass for messing up. Okay. No, 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 no. Waiting to send you to hell. None of that. But I'm talking about the all, the God, the all that's of all, in all, and through all. Okay. So because many people have an image of God that was rooted in fear. That's what was given to us. That is the reason why people find it hard to see good in themselves or to see God in themselves. So tonight we're going to talk about unlearning fear-based God images. What a fear-based God image is. What does that look like? Okay, what is that? A fear-based image or a fear-based God image is not God. Okay, it's not the all. Okay, it's not that creative source that energy that exists in all things. A fear-based God image is not God. It's a picture of God that was handed to you. You see, it's the version of God that's always angry, always offended. You understand what I'm saying? Easy to piss off, okay? Unstable, very sensitive, um, obviously has insecurities because it needs your praise, okay? It needs it. You know, that's not God at all, okay? A God that needs is not a God, first of all right? But um, again, a fear-based image of God is not God. It's a picture of God that was handed to you. And that version of God, as we stated, is angry, offended. It's quick to punish. It's insecure. Um, it's watching you like Santa Claus, making a list, checking it twice, going to find out who's naughty or nice. Okay, it's watching to catch you slipping. Okay, um, it loves you. This version of God loves you, but barely loves you. Okay. And many of us were taught to fear God instead of trust God. Because again, I see God as the all, not just as an entity. I see God as the universe. I see God as the process. I see God as the principles. I see God um, as the laws of the laws that govern this world. I see God as all of that, not just some separate entity. I see God as creative energy. I see God um, as the spirit that animates your body. You see, and so, but many of us were not taught to trust God. Like I talked, remember I talked about the process. I trust the process. I trust the God of the process. You see, um, but we were not taught to trust God. Many were taught to fear God, and most were taught to fear God more than trust God. Yes, we sung the songs about trusting God, but we were taught to fear God more than trust God. And these images of God, guys, this angry God, this insecure God that's quick to punish, this God that's trying to catch you slipping, these images did not come from spirit. Okay? These images came from religious systems. They came from fearful leaders, all right? They came from shame-based theology and control structures. And these images of God came from people who taught what they were taught. Okay, so let me be clear. I've said this earlier in I think last week maybe. I respect my ancestors. I respect even the my ancestors that taught and passed down this religiosity. They taught down their understanding, their perspective of God as much as they could perceive based on their conditioning, their environment, their culture. What am I saying? They did the best they could with the best they had. So I don't fault them. I'm not mad at them. I'm not angry at them because they did the best they could with the best they had. And for many of them, watch closely. For many of them, it worked for them. It did work. Now we can come and say, "Oh, that stuff didn't work." No, 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 no. For many of them, it worked. Okay. But as you grow, as you evolve, as you change, as the world changes, what worked then doesn't work now. Let's just be honest about that. They say, give me that old time religion is good enough for me. If it was good enough for grandma, it's good enough for me. No, no, it was good enough for grandma because that's where grandma was. So where grandma was, that religion was good enough for grandma, but it's not good enough for me. No, 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 no. As we grow and as we evolve, so should our faith. Do you hear me? So should our faith evolve. Okay? As the scripture says, from glory to glory and from faith to faith. So your faith should be evolving. They did the best they could with what they had. And yes, my brother, yes, Joe, thank you for being here. Yes, and it worked for them. It did indeed work for them. Okay. And it may not work for you, and it may work for you. Okay. But we have to allow people to be wherever they are in their consciousness. Let them be where they are and give them time to grow, give them time to evolve. Like the Apostle Paul, according to the text, says, and such were some of you. Don't forget where you came from before you judge where somebody else is. Be and allow. But again, they did the best they could with the best they had. But that doesn't mean that what they gave us was accurate. Okay, it worked for them, but doesn't mean it was accurate. But these fear-based images of God, they serve a purpose. They do. Okay, but it's not healing. Fear, and this is why it was passed down to us, because what your grandma gave you, it didn't come from your grandma. It came from somebody that gave it to her, and it didn't come from them. What they gave your grandma came from what somebody gave them. And a lot of this goes all the way back to some form of elitism Okay. And you know what? That's for another day. I don't want to go into all of that. But the root of this is the root of this fear based image of God, okay, is that fear keeps people compliant. Are you hearing me? Fear doesn't just keep people compliant, it keeps people dependent, you see. Keeps butts in the pews. Are you hearing me? All right. It keeps the tithes and offerings rolling in. I know everybody is not, that's not what's on everybody's mind, but I'm just saying fear keeps people compliant, it keeps people dependent, and fear keeps people silent. They won't get out here and do this bold talking that I'm doing. I'm sorry, y'all, I had some potato chips earlier. But listen, guys, if you're afraid of God, you won't question authority. You won't trust yourself. You won't listen to your inner knowing, okay? If you're afraid of God, because fear disconnects you from yourself, you see. And you gotta understand, fear does something to the soul. And I'll be honest with you, fear disconnects you from God, the all, okay? Because guess what? Can I tell you something? God is a part of you. That which we call God, as I sometimes say, that which we call God is the very energy that, ah, I felt that. That which we call God is the very energy, the very spirit or energy that animates your body. So when fear causes you not to trust yourself, guess who else you're not trusting? You're not trusting God if you don't trust yourself, because the voice comes from within yourself. It doesn't come from outside of you. What we said this a couple times this week about Elijah. Didn't hear God in the fire, didn't hear God in the wind, but he heard God in the still small voice within. That's where God is. That's where God speaks. And fear keeps you from trusting yourself, and therefore, not trusting yourself, you don't listen to God because you're looking for something to come from outside of you, okay? Not realizing it comes from the stillness within. When you have stillness and you become one with yourself, that's when presence, okay? That's when presence, that's when presence reveals itself, and presence is God. It is breath. It is, oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, my brother. Yes, he says, good teaching, perfect love cast out fear. Exactly. The religious tried to control and diminish perfect love. Exactly. All for the sake of elitism. Okay. If we can keep you obedient, we can stay in control. And what better way to stay in control than fear-based images of God, and also improper interpretation and understanding and exegesis of scriptures? Okay, because now we're going to have you believing in this literal hell that you're going to go to if you don't do things the way I tell you to do them. All right. All right. Says, oh, I'm going home and rest now. I'm not resting because I want to watch you. Oh, okay. Well, you're doing a good thing. You're doing a good thing. Yeah, you're gonna rest. You're gonna rest even better by listening to this tonight, my sister. All right. So living with a fear-based God image, it does something deep, and it does it to your soul. It disconnects you from yourself, therefore disconnecting you from God. It creates anxiety around spirituality. Fear-based God images cause you to feel guilty for being human. Y'all don't hear me. Do you hear me? Do y'all hear me? Cause you to feel guilty for being human. Cause you to feel shame for having thoughts and feelings. Fear-based images of God creates confusion between ego and God's voice. Because you start to believe, if I mess up, God is disappointed. You know what? Let me ask you something. Have you ever thought about this? I know some of you this is not going to rest well with your theological perspective. But let's talk about that for a minute. Have you ever thought about this? I'm not even going to cuss when I say it because I heard it as a cuss in my head. But how in the world, you know, we're going to say world, but how in the world can God be disappointed? Can we just think about that for a moment? If God is God, come on, come on. Let's do what you were not programmed to do, and that is think. If God is God, how can God be disappointed? How? As if he is not all knowing. Doesn't the scripture say that God determines the end from the beginning? That means he already, according to the you know the theology that comes out of literalism, okay, according to the theology of literalism, God already knows what you're going to do before you do it. So how can he be disappointed when he already knew you was going to do it? And according to that literalist theological positioning, not only does God know you're going to do it, but God was the one that determined that you was going to do it. God ordained that you were going to do what you were going to do. So if God, okay, y'all not following me. I'm just trying to get you to think. So if God ordained for you to do what you're gonna do, and already knew that you was gonna do what he designed for you to do, what was in his plan, in his plan for you to do, how can God be disappointed? Is he disappointed in himself? Because wasn't it his plan? Didn't he predestine it? All right, let me okay, I'm messing with y'all. So let me just stop. That's not for today. We'll do that another day. But anyway, we're talking about the fear-based image of God. What it does to you, it creates that anxiety around spirituality, makes you guilty for feeling human. You start to believe that, like I said, that if I mess up, God is disappointed. You start to believe that if I question, then God gets angry. And then the crazy thing is, we mistake growth for rebelling. Okay, if I grow, I'm rebelling. No, and guys, and we're probably going to talk about this tomorrow, but that's not transformation, guys. That's trauma, and we're going to talk about religious trauma tomorrow, I think. But here's what Jesus revealed about God. Let's get to it. Y'all know what I call Jesus, the master teacher. Here's what the master teacher taught about God. And this is where Jesus matters. And I always say this, guys. No, I just happen to believe, I happen to believe that Jesus was a historical figure. That's what I believe. Okay. It's a belief. And I'm very honest. It's a belief. Okay. There is no empirical evidence to prove that belief. A lot of people won't be honest about that. There's no empirical evidence, not empirical evidence. There's some evidence, but it's not empirical. Okay. I happen to believe that Jesus was a historical character, but some people do not. Some people believe that Jesus was a myth. Some people believe he's just a character in a story that, you know, helps us to get a great understanding of various principles in this world. Whatever you believe, that's fine. But this is where Jesus matters, no matter how you interpret him. Jesus did not reveal a God that was driven by fear. That's the point. No matter what you believe about the story, Jesus revealed a God who restores, who heals, who forgives, who welcomes, who remains present. Look at the story of Jesus. The master teacher, Jesus, he didn't motivate people through terror. He awakened people through love and through compassion, you see. And that matters, you know. So Let's talk about this. We've got, and I got to get out of here, but we have got to replace fear with a healthier image of God. Now, let me tell you this, guys, because see, some of y'all think, because see, I had to deconstruct my faith in order to reconstruct my faith. All right. I deconstructed an unhealthy image of God and I reconstructed a healthy image of God that resonates with love and that resonates with me. And I'm good with that. But we've got to unlearn this fear-based image of God. But I want to say to you this. I'm at 20 minutes. I got to get off of here. But unlearning fear doesn't mean abandoning God. It really means meeting God again, but without terror. A healthier image of God is what? It's patient. It's like Jesus presented. It's compassionate. It's present. It's secure. And it's not threatened by your humanity. And when your image of God heals, your image of yourself heals. Okay? So tonight I want you to ask yourself. Now, this may not apply to everybody, but to somebody. Is the God I fear the God I've experienced? Or the God I was taught to fear? Because for me, the God that I used to fear was not, oh my goodness, I'm trying not to get happy on here. Whew. The God that I used to fear was not the God that I experienced. Do you hear me? It wasn't the God of my experience. I experienced a totally different God than the God that was preached to me over the pulpit that was telling me get right, get right, get right. That heaven or hell. I mean, well, yeah, heaven or hell, no gray area, no in between. Holiness or hell. That's what they used to say. Holiness or hell. And how you so to scare the hell out of you. That God that was presented to me was not the God of my experience. That was just the God that I was taught to fear. So we have to unlearn fear. We have to unlearn fear before we can heal religious trauma. And I told you we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Give me 3 minutes and I'm out of here. Because you can't heal what you're still afraid of. That's why I can't get over my phobia of bees. All right. I ain't gonna heal from that. I don't know if I'm ever gonna heal from my fear of bees because I can't fear what I'm afraid of. I gotta be willing to face it. I ain't willing to face no bee. I've jumped out of I've jumped out of a moving car 2 times, all right, because of a bee. Listen, y'all just don't worry about it. Just judge your mama, not me. All right. Judge your mama. All right. You can't heal what you're still afraid of because fear keeps the wounds closed, you know? But anyway, let's end this. I could say a whole lot more tonight. I really want to, but I really need to get my food and go to bed. But if your image of God produces fear, point blank, this is the whole thing. If your image of God produces fear, then something needs to be unlearned. Because a God that is truly God, a God that is God, doesn't need fear to transform you. God doesn't need shame to cause you to grow. God does not need fear to keep you close to Him. Love does that. Okay? You think about, okay, I want to get off on a tangent here, but think about some of your natural relationships. What did fear do? When you had a mean mama, mean daddy, okay? You were scared of them. You couldn't wait to move out. You couldn't wait to get away from them mocha jokers. It didn't make you want to get closer to them. You were scared to disappoint them because they would knock the hell out of you. You were afraid to disappoint them. You didn't want to please them because you loved them. All right, I got to finish this. You get the point. All right, so we always do an affirmation. So tonight, our affirmation is real simple. Basically, the message we taught tonight. I release fear-based images of God. There's nothing wrong with God. There's something wrong with fear-based images of God. God is not the problem. Fear-based images of God are the problem. I allow a truer understanding to emerge. I choose trust over terror. So we're ending this tonight, guys. So let me tell you something, and I'm gonna say, don't rush to unlearning either. Don't rush it, because you know what? It took you years to get this installed inside of you. It ain't gonna go away overnight, but you can heal from those fear-based images of God. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what happens when religion leaves those wounds and how healing actually begins. We're going to talk about healing religious trauma. All right, guys. So thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, if you want to be a part, if you enjoy this, if it's blessing you, if it's helping you, I want you to be a part of my spiritual family. It is called the Spiritual Life Center. If you're anywhere in the Greensboro, North Carolina area or surrounding areas, come and be with us every Sunday at 12 noon. The address is 1519 Bartow Place, Greensboro, North Carolina. And we have released a fear-based image of God, and we see a God as the all, and a God who is all-encompassing love. Okay? It's a place where you can think, heal, grow, and evolve. The Spiritual Life Center, we honor the God outside of you without ignoring the God inside of you. Come and be a part of our spiritual family. Love to have you, whether it's virtually. We go live around 1 p.m. every Sunday, but service starts 12 noon every Sunday. Thank you guys for being with us. Have a good night. God bless. Good night. Thank you so much. Love you.